Well, my wife and I moved here a little under 10 years ago. And the reason we came here was that we realized that as we were getting more serious and we wanted to have kids, it was just not affordable to have kids where we were. And so we were looking around, well, where's a place that is affordable, that has great schools, is a really great place to raise a family. And every time we would look around or talk to people, Plano was the place that came up. And so that's why we moved here. And I'm running because I want to make sure it stays that way for future families and for my kids so that they can stay here and raise their kids here. That's the proximate reason. The other one is, as I've been going around and talking to folks, and I've been involved in the community for a long time, the things I find most fulfilling about being in the community is when I can talk to somebody who's at the door and they say, hey, I live by a school and people drive too fast. Can we get a stop sign in here? And I can call the city and say, hey, put the stop sign in there. Or a restaurant has problems getting a renovation in their kitchen and they need a permit. And I can call somebody and say, hey, can you help with this permit? And they can get going on their kitchen. Those everyday, small potatoes issues are the things I find the most fulfilling in my life. And if I can contribute in a greater way with those folks, that's what I want to do with my life. There's three. So the first is Plano has a lot of infrastructure, which is great, but a lot of it's 20, 30 years old. It's all aging. And it's kind of all aging at the same time, which means it's all got to be repaired kind of at the same time. That's roads and libraries and rec centers and public facilities for the police and all the different buildings. And it's great that we're going to be able to renovate all those to keep quality up to where we expect. But that comes with a lot of disruption. So how do we make sure we minimize that disruption so you're not having to commute back and forth throughout your city and it takes 20 minutes instead of 5? And all that's very expensive. And a lot of folks see that from the bonds that are here, the largest bond in Plano's history. A lot of those investments are needed, but there's a trade-off there that we have to all be aware of, that money is not free. There's interest you got to pay on it, and it's going to increase our taxes down the road. So how do we make sure that no matter how these bonds turn out, the maintenance must be paid for eventually? How do we pay for it in a way that does not diminish the quality of the services we have and does not increase taxes on the residents? One of the things that we always talk about in Plano is we're the city of excellence. And for me, that means we provide great service to the residents at an affordable cost, low taxes. So the value is really high. That's what the city of excellence is for me. And we got to make sure we keep that equilibrium. And it'll be challenging as we have to repair all these things and it costs more money with inflation. That's going to be a challenge for us. So managing that's going to be really important. And a part of that will also be making sure we continue to invest in police and in fire so that they can keep us all safe. There's a few things. So one is my personal measure of success as a council member. I talked about taxes a bit. That's one of the main reasons people move here is because it's so affordable. We have one of the lowest tax rates in North Texas. That's a very attractive thing for people to move in, but also companies to come here and bring their employees. So a measure of success for me is I don't want any citizen, any resident living here to have to move out or to have their house foreclosed on because they can't pay their property tax bill to the city. There's a lot in there that you got to work on, but if we can do that, that's a really important thing. The second thing is I mentioned my definition of city of excellence. I'll be successful if that definition, that what I'll call a promise to the residents, stays. So great services still maintained at the quality level we expect, but people are not being priced out of the community. Crucial. The reason Plano's been able to keep property taxes so low is that we have these amazing businesses that come here. So many great corporations are headquartered in Plano, and it's allowed us to have our tax base be roughly half property taxes and half business taxes. But through the pandemic, a lot of companies either shifted to remote or hybrid, and so they are no longer paying as many taxes in our business communities, or the great enemy up in Frisco started taking those companies away, like Dr. Pepper, and so that tax base is then declining. So it is crucial that we continue to talk with the businesses that are still here and the ones that may want to come in to find out what it is that they need to have Plano continue to be this destination for business, which is great for bringing people in and great jobs and great amenities, but ultimately to keep that tax base, that 50-50 split, still in existence. There are a few things. So I was on the Parks Board for 6 years, almost 6 years, about half that time as the chair. And there's a lot of really exciting parks things going on. One in particular, the dream for a lot of people who walk or bike our trails is connection points between all of the trails. So as Collin Creek gets redeveloped, we're going to be connecting Chisholm Trail, which is going to unlock all these opportunities to go down into Richardson and all the way back up to Allen. It's going to be this great network. So that's really exciting to me. And there's a couple other smaller parks that are going to be adapting into new kinds of recreation, new kinds of dog parks and things like that I think are really cool. So I'm really excited about those, but that's more in the parks community. I mentioned Collin Creek. The redevelopment of Concrete Mall and the newly approved one in Willow Bend, I think are going to be game changers for the city, helping to revitalize a lot of the things I was describing with businesses having to move out or things just aging. That's going to be really important. And then the final one, it's a bit of a dual-edged sword. So there's some schools that are closing because just there's not enough students there. And while the city doesn't affect that, we are affected by it. But on the flip side, it does open up opportunities for the school system to continue to invest in other kinds of education systems, like things like the academy or great alternatives. And I'm excited for the city to partner with the school district to help bring those to pass.